Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today I'm here with another special guest, Santosh Yadav, who is originally from Bharat and currently joining us from Germany. Santosh is a staff engineer, Google developer expert for Angular, and a GitHub star. In today's episode, we will explore his journey from being a passionate coder to becoming a recognized leader in the tech community. Also, we will talk about the evaluation of Angular and Signals, what it truly means to be a GitHub star, and gather insight that can help developers grow faster in today's tech landscape. But before we proceed with all of these, I would like to thank Santosh for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us a bit about yourself.
Hey, Amit, thank you so much for the invitation. Excited to be here. And a little bit about myself. So, yeah, as Amit mentioned, my name is Santosh, and I've been working in tech for 16 years. I started my career way back in 2009 as a .NET developer, basically. I think, yeah, early 2000, everyone was doing .NET or Java. There was no JavaScript framework or not JavaScript framework every other day. It's like, so and then I did like work until 2015. I was in Mumbai, and then I moved to Pune to work for another company. And then 2019, this is like 2017, actually, the year where I started getting involved in Angular, like Angular 4, when it was launched.
Okay.
And 2019 is the year when I started contributing to Angular. So it took me 2 years to like figure things out and then finally like, start contributing. And then I moved to Germany in 2022. So I've been, after I started contributing to Angular, I became a good GTE, I became a GitHub star, Microsoft MVP, and an ex champion. And yeah, so part of this programs, but as I work full time as staff engineer at Celonis, and that's what I do.
Yes. So thanks for the introduction, Santosh. And it's quite clear that you have gone from being a programmer to staff engineer, Google developer expert, and GitHub star. And in fact, the list is endless because there are so many things that you have achieved in your so far journey. But before we get into all of these fancy titles and your contributions for the IT industry, I just want to know like who was Santosh before all of this, beyond those LinkedIn title, beyond those contribution, achievements, and a tech expert. Who is the person Santosh Yadav?
Yeah, good question actually, because I never thought about it. Like, oh, okay, but yeah, I think I wrote my journey actually. I published it in on Free Code Camp, yeah, like 3 2 3 years ago, 2021, I think it was the year. So I started like a very, I was not about to be engineer, I would say. I often called myself as an accidental engineer because I had no idea like what I'm supposed to do in my life or career. Uh, so in Mumbai, I was born in a slum, and that's where I lived till 2015. I just went to this polytechnic college by mistake because I was not able to get an or secure an admission where I wanted to,
Okay.
and went there. And they're like, so the principal said like we have like this streams because polytechnic was not that famous or
Hmm.
not that well known in 2002. I think now it's like everyone wants to do that, but it was not like that much, right? So there were not many students coming for admission, so they had like pretty much seats open in all the streams. And so the principal started saying this, and then he said computers, and I was like, computers. That's what I want to do, computers. And yeah, when came outside, like my father said, why not mechanical? Because he was working in industries, right? So he knew mechanical is something which he can
Mechanical.
do.
Yeah.
But and then yeah, somehow I completed my bachelor's 2009, and then I was confused what I'm supposed to do. Somehow I found like .NET in my last year of the college, and I struggled a lot, mm, like job wise as well and financially as well. But I think, yeah, passionate programmer, this is what I will call, and a father.
Okay. All right. So, talking about the technology, like what was your first technology like when you started after graduation working with? Is it the .NET or Angular from which you started?
Surprisingly, it was neither of them. It was ASP. I'm not sure like how many people remember ASP. Active server
ASP.
pages, it used to be called. So where you can use VB.NET or I think, sorry, you can use VB or JS, right? I think it was there were two options, right? You can do both. So it was ASP, and then somehow I uh, uh, ended up doing a little bit of .NET there.
Okay.
And then when I moved to my next role, it was .NET. So I was working as a Windows developer. So till 2011, I was actually doing Windows development. I mean, where you create the builds and then you ship it to customers, install on their machines. Fun days.
Yes. And suppose someone asks you to select one technology in 2025. So now at this moment, like what would you select? Is it the Angular or any other particular thing?
And I love .NET. I mean, even though I don't write that much, but I think that's why I'm a developer. I
Yes.
mean, I fell in love with .NET, like C Sharp basically, right? So C Sharp was the language which he right. And then I still love it. It's like just I wanted to explore something new because I wrote it for 9 years. And
Yeah.
after 9 years, I did like I started with Windows, then ended up doing ASP.NET, ASP.NET MVC, wrote like a lot of web services, WCF, APIs, ASP.NET MVC APIs, and then I was like, okay, this is now, I think too much. Let's do something else, and somehow I ended up doing Angular. So yeah, if I have chance again to start again, I will try again go and to pick up C Sharp.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk a bit about your role as a GD because you have been a Google Developer Expert for Angular community since 2019. And that's like being an ambassador in one of the biggest framework in the world. So what exactly made you fall in love with Angular like when everyone was chasing behind React or maybe any other particular technology? So was there anything special in Angular that inspired you to start your advocacy activities there?
In TypeScript. So when it was like I would say 2017. So I was teaching AngularJS because I moved to Pune, and I was
Hmm.
looking for some extra gigs, and I just got in touch with one person who asked me to teach AngularJS. And meanwhile, I think Angular 2 Plus was being developed, and Angular 4 was released, and I said, okay, let's try this framework. And as soon as I saw TypeScript, I was like, wow, I'm at home because, TypeScript felt so similar to .NET. I mean, for the people who don't know, the creator
Right.
of C Sharp and actually TypeScript is the same person. So if you move from .NET or any object-oriented programming to TypeScript, you will feel like, okay, it's a lot similar. Now it has changed a little bit. Talk about a lot about typing system and everything, but still the concept is same in TypeScript. And that's how it started. And I saw like I got like good money teaching Angular, and I was like, okay, now I have money after a few years, like got good job. So I was like, why not to contribute? Because I got everything for free, right? I mean, I had to not invest anything. Like I just got a course for free, like from my employer, uh, where I just did like a little bit of Angular, started like doing building something on my own, started teaching it, and I was like, okay, if it helped me, let me help it back. And that's how the thought came that I should contribute to this framework.
Mm. Okay. And if we talk about the journey of Angular, because you have been working on this technology for a very long time, so what do you think? Like, what one change in Angular ecosystem that what one thing in the Angular system ecosystem that completely changed the way developers doing coding now? Like when you started with the Angular and now, so comparatively, what do you think? Like, what are the things that are completely changed now?
I keep telling this to my friends as well. So
Mhm.
the Angular framework or Angular code, which I used to write in Angular 4, and now with Angular 20 or 21, it feels like I'm writing two different frameworks because
Mhm.
they're not same. I mean, so much has changed. over the years. So the first, I think, major change was Ivy. It was
Okay.
something which was not visible to us. Like, so it was mostly like around the framework. So it becomes more like flexible to adopt new changes, new APIs, right? I mean, it was just API level thing. When Angular IB happened, it was around Angular 9. And it took some years, like it took some years to see the impact which IB has made to the framework, which was very visible when standalone components came in. So, Angular 14 happened, Angular 4, and standalone component came as a developer preview. And I was like, wow, this is nice because, I was very big advocate of Angular modules.
Mm-hmm.
And, but there were times I was really frustrated with Angular modules. I was like, why? I mean, when I used to see the test setup, I used to get frustrated, like why this test setup has to be so complicated.
Right.
And Phantom component changed that. And now after that, like of course, Signal came in. Now you
Yes.
have like Signal-based APIs. Everything is Signal now. RxJS, I love it, but Signals actually remove that mental overhead to learn about RxJS or go deep into RxJS whole. So yeah, I would say Ivy, which is not much pretty much developer will talk about now because no one knows it.
Correct. Right. And you just mentioned about the signals, and it's I'm agree like this is a very hot topic nowadays, especially when we are talking about the Angular. Everyone is talking about signals. Some say that it's a game changer thing, but some think that it's just a reactivity in a new jacket. So, what's your real take on this? Like, how should uh, a dev decide like which when to switch from RxJS to signals, and comparatively, what you think which one is better? And if someone is starting in 2025, where should they focus on signals or on RxJS?
RxJS is an amazing framework, amazing library, basically. I mean, when it came, it took me some years to adopt, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
When someone starts with RxJS, they are not aware like what they're doing.
Mhm.
Believe me when I say this, that it took me 2 years to understand like what RxJS does. I mean, I was writing code, right, real code for 2 years, and I had no idea what is the power of RxJS. It was just too much information, too much things you have to know. Always worried about which operators to use. And with Signal, it's straightforward, right? I mean, there is a data,
Right.
use it, and it gets reflected back. With RxJS, I mean, the concept of streams is something which is not very much known to everyone. The first thing is like, why should I have stream when I'm working on a front end application, right?
Right.
That entire thing actually takes a lot of time for developers who have just done maybe basic JavaScript, right? They take some time to actually process this, but someone who has been working on, let's say, distributed application, they know all this, right?
Right.
Okay, because they work with streams daily, and for them it was good. And once you understand RxJS, I'm sure like you will love it as well. But the only problem is by the time like you understand RxJS, it's already 6 or 7 months in that project for you.
Yes.
And especially for new beginners, it's terrible. It's terrible to like teach RxJS, like because there are some ways you have to just say, okay, this is how it is, right? This is how it is done. That's it. With RxJS, you can actually tell people, okay, this is how it works. For example, change detection, right?
Right.
So with RxJS, it was so hard to sometime explain it, like how it works. But with RxJS, like okay, there is a just a contract between your template and then your code base, right? Your TypeScript code, and as soon as you read the value, it gets updated. And until if you don't read the value, then nothing happens. That's
Correct.
how the reactivity should be. So it should be simple. State management should be simple. I'm I'm not saying like it should be so simple that people should abuse it, but yeah, it should be easy to understand, right? That's
Easy to
what the
understand.
whole shift came with the introduction of Signal. So if you're starting a new project, of course, my recommendation, go with Signals. And it's not like RxJS is going away, right? RxJS is still there.
Hmm.
You can still go ahead and use those APIs. And Angular team did an amazing job actually breaching that gap by bringing RxJS uh, interoperability package, right, which is part of Angular now. It's like there are a few functions, for example, to signal to two observable, right? So if you want to use a signal and you want to convert it to observable or RxJS stream, you can just do that. If you have a stream, you want to convert to signal, you have to signal, right? You can just convert it back and go for it. I mean, who is stopping you? If you love RxJS, you can still use it. If you don't love, I mean, if you're new, I mean, totally recommend going with signals
Signals.
until unless you need streams, right? Then you can always go back and use RxJS.
Yeah, and I think this explanation is quite clear to all those who are a bit confused between RxJS and signals. So now they have the proper understanding, like what to use when, and if you are starting with the signal, that is also fine because if even if you are working with RxJS, then don't believe that it is not supported. Still, it is there in the application, so you can make use of it. All
Absolutely.
right. So Santosh, moving ahead, we will talk a bit about your journey as a GitHub star. So firstly, you can just tell us like what inspired you to start contributing to a open source project, and what keeps you motivated today also to consistently creating the things for the open source, and also help us to understand this GitHub star. Like, what is this award and when it is provided to our folks?
Yeah, so it's a similar to what GTE and MVP program is. It's an ambassador program just for GitHub, right? So GitHub actually launched this in 2020. That was the year the program was launched,
Mm-hmm.
and it was awarded to people who have been doing open source contributions, who have been doing developer education, and helping the community, open source community, and as well as learn like to help people learn about more about open source, right? So um, I have I have still have no idea like how I became a star because that was the time it was launched, and I was just came across this program, and I started asking people to nominate someone who they think is like someone who deserve it, like in because uh, when the program was launched, they like handpicked few of the stars, and there was no one from India. So I was like, okay, please nominate someone. So someone comes from India as well. And I
Yes.
was not expecting that I will be the first one. So I somehow became the first Indian GitHub star back in 2020, and it's been like 5 years. I'm still here in this program. Though I changed country now, I'm not a star from India. I'm from Germany now. But the whole concept of like doing open source, right? It's actually came again via Angular. So as I said, like I mentioned previously, Angular gave me so much, right? I mean, I started teaching it. I got like good salary, and I was like, okay, now let's give back to the community. And I was exploring how, because there are so many things you can do.
Correct.
So uh, for me, I actually went to the repository, and I was just like by mistake, I was going through the contributors list. And on contributors page, you see top 100
Mm-hmm.
first, like first top 100. That's you see, and then you can maybe search and find. And I saw there is no one from India. It is 2018. The year was 2018. Yeah. And I was like, why there is no one from India? I mean, I see like there are so many Angular developers here.
Hmm.
And I promised myself that I will be the first one. I'll do it. Go ahead and I'll do it. And took me a year to figure out like how to contribute. And 2019 was the year finally, because 2018 something happened, family issues, and then I had to fix that before I can just do something.
Yes.
2019, I went to the repository. I mean, I went to a conference, came back home, and I was just like, I will do it now, because I met there one person from Angular team. I was talking to him like, how can I contribute? He said, yeah, you can write blog posts, you can create contents on YouTube, or you can like give talks. I was like, no, 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 that's not what I want to do. How can I contribute on the GitHub repository? And he just looked at me and said, yeah, maybe you can start with the documentation.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that I can do, because I've been reading documentation for a long, long time, right? I mean, because that's how I kept up myself up to date by reading the documentation.
Hmm.
And came back home, started contributing, and I started with NGRX actually, because I couldn't find anything in Angular. But once my PR in NGRX was merged, I got like this confidence boost that, oh, I can do anything. Like, yeah, let it be. Like any project, I will do it. And that's how it started. So 2019 was a great year for me as well, like in open source, because I did like so much open source. I wish I could do it now, but now I don't get that much time. But yeah, that's how I started.
Okay, so let's say if someone into the college, like when usually like students do their open source project in colleges, maybe their major or minor project. So sometime like they feel that yes, their project is equally contributing to this community, whether it's a GitHub program or any other program. So like what would be the right approach, or what would be the right path for them to join such kind of project? For example, we will talk about the GitHub. So let's say if someone wants to join this GitHub Star program, so what would be the right way? Like how they can approach? Like do they need to directly nominate themselves? Do we have any way, or someone will nominate them to join the program?
Yeah, so STARS program is a little bit different where you cannot self-nominate, but
Okay.
anyone can nominate you. So the way it works is you can just go to stars.github.com, and if you know anyone who has been doing amazing stuff like teaching,
Mm-hmm.
education, open source, you can nominate three people. So you
Okay.
can go to that portal, you can nominate three people, and then uh, other person can also do the same, right? So the self nomination is not allowed, so you cannot do that, but someone else can nominate you. And how many nominations you need, I have no idea, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the question people keep asking. I have no idea about the number of nominations you need, but yeah, if you have made good impact, probably someone will come to know about it, right? So yeah, that's
Okay, and when you are saying someone else, that means any developer, not particularly the GitHub Star, right? Or existing develop GD, sorry, not GD, GitHub Star is supposed to be nominated.
no, anyone,
Anyone.
like any developer can nominate. Yeah, any developer can nominate you.
Okay, so I think it's a great opportunity for those all students who are sincerely preparing their projects into their college. So just do it in a better way, and if you think you can, your project is also worthy to be a part of this community program, so feel free to reach out to any other expert so that they can nominate you, and you can also contribute for the wider audience.
Just to give you some idea, like as you mentioned, students. So the second Indian GitHub star was student. He was still
Okay.
in college when he became a star. So I was surprised. I was like, wow.
That's a great thing. Like, in fact, I think this thing will also inspire lots of the student that yes, you're not supposed to be any experienced person of 10 to 15 years experience. Like, if you are a student also, and if you are doing really a great job, then for sure, like, the community will recognize your work, and they will put you in the spotlight. All right. So as we talked about the project, so what do you think, like Santosh, which open source project you are most proud of? And like usually we talked about the achievements, we just discuss about the things, right? But it's not that easy to get all those titles and certification. There is a long journey. Like you have to contribute, you have to face the challenges. So in your case, like which open source project are you most proud of, and what challenges did you face while building and maintaining that product?
I mean, I think I have. I remember like when Angular 8 was launched, so they created something called ng deploy command. It's deprecated now. I don't think so. It exists anymore because
Yeah.
well, all the providers have their own version of something. But ng deploy opened the door to actually bring your own deploy command. Like you can build your own deploy command for any providers. And that was the time actually I was using Netlify for everything almost. Like whenever I had to like build something, I just go ahead and deploy it on Netlify.
Okay.
And so I ended up creating a project to deploy the Angular application using the CLI on Netlify. And that changed a lot of things for me because I got like mentioned by Minko Getchev, who used to be the developer advocate. Now he moved to another team, but he was the face behind Angular, right, for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up mentioning that project in some of the podcast of his, and I was like, wow. I mean, I just built it because I was like, okay, let's see it. Like it will be fun. I mean, that project is like probably deprecated now,
Yes.
but I had fun building it. Like because I built something which was used for some time, and people liked it. even Angular team loved it because someone is taking those commands ahead and building something on top of it.
Right.
So I think there was not much challenge because there were not many contributors. It was not a very big project, right? It's not like uh, thousands of developers were contributing to that project. But yeah, it was very, I mean, early for me, and then it was something which was useful for everyone to even like uh, get the visibility for. It also gives the visibility for Angular framework that it's flexible, right? You can build something on top of it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So Santosh, like we talked about your different roles in which you are contributing, whether it's a GD, Microsoft MVP, and GitHub Star. Now we also wanted to know about your journey as a staff engineer. Like how actually your workflow look like, or what does your day what does your day as a staff engineer look like technically wise, from like addition to the development, how it all goes.
Mhm. Yeah, so I've been lucky. Like at Celonis, I work on the developer experience and productivity. So it's like we don't my team doesn't ship features, right?
Mm-hmm.
So generally, it's like we work on the internal tooling to make sure like developers can ship faster. So we like work for developers that they are my customers. So generally, it's like we run projects. So being an IC, I think this is something that a lot of developers are not aware. you know Most of the developers who work in industry, they have been used to get assigned, like they what the way they work is like they get work from the manager or someone else, and they start working on it. The different here is like as an IC is like you have to create your own work.
Yeah.
You have to figure out like what I mean, you have to see around, you have to see the challenges, and then you have to go ahead and fix them. So this is how it works at Celonis as well.
Mm-hmm.
And my job is to like see like how developers are building product, what are the challenges they are facing, what can reduce the workload for them, what can we build something or what we can improve in the existing process, like building maybe some tooling, maybe building some extra checks on CI pipeline, maybe speeding up our CI pipeline, maybe building some you can say standards like coding standards, coding guidelines. So those are the things which I do. So for every 3 months, like we do quarterly projects. So typically my day would look like is, of course, I have a project like 3 months project. So I will start with my documentation. I will probably I always like block early few hours of my day to go through the documentation, and if there is anything which needs to be done, to do that documentation. I am also responsible for like my team is responsible for managing the entire monorepo.
Yes.
So it means we get a lot of requests for PR reviews. So generally, like as like there are so many PR reviews, we don't want to get distracted. So we generally block like two different slots in a day to make sure like we check any request which is coming from developers or if anyone is facing an issue. And then I also have my own office hours where like I just like it's like co-working time, right? I just start my open office hours, and then if someone has any issues, they can join office hours and discuss about it. And a lot of meetings, yeah. So you have to talk to other teams, you have to talk to other
Yes.
developers, and that's how my day looks like. But I just try to avoid as much as the meeting is something I try to avoid as much as possible until unless it's needed. Otherwise, I'll be just too much distracted to do anything else.
It's great to see, like, apart from this, I would say, a day full of responsibilities, still you are contributing in different ways, as many as possible, because it's not that easy to take care of your job responsibility and parallelly also doing advocacy for the community. But it's quite inspiring to see your journey. Okay, so Santosh, now we will talk about one moment. Like, if you have to pick one particular turning point in your life, maybe a project or a moment or a person that changed everything in your career. So, what do you think? What that particular thing would be?
Oh, there are so many. I mean, to be frank, but yeah, I mean, you can probably read through my story, and you will find like there are so many instances where actually I was like, okay, I have to do something, but the uh, biggest would be like when my daughter was born. I was like, okay, now
Hmm.
I mean, I have to do. I mean, because she was like fighting for her life, so I was like, okay, I have to do something. I have to work
Hmm.
hard, and I mean, it helped, but it also gave me a lot of learnings in for the future. So I think that will be the biggest one, which probably changed a lot of things for good.
Okay. All right. And connecting to this question also, like, because what I believe, and I'm sure you also believe that everyone needs a mentor in their life, or mentor or guide in
Mhm.
their life. So looking back on your own journey, what you think, like, who are the key people or influences that shape the way you think, work, or lead today?
I think, yeah, that's a pretty good question because you go through your career and there are people who make an impact. They're not maybe your direct mentors, but they teach you something which helps you, and somehow they are your mentor, right? So I think the few names I would take is one of my managers, Anand, who made me a better person, I think. I mean, I still share this story with everyone in my network or whenever I'm interacting with young grads that I used to be like very short tempered, very angry kind of person. And working with Anand actually made that difference. Like I became more calm and I started like not taking work very serious. And I would say not very strongly, I would say. I mean, but taking work seriously is good. I mean, but it's like not attaching myself to the work, right? When you do that, like you become a different kind of a person. So, uh, of course, and then my family, my wife and daughter, like they have given me huge support whenever needed. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, Santosh. So, like, we have plenty of things that we can discuss here, but because of we are short on time, so I just want to ask last question. And this question is like, if you could start your career all over again, everything from scratch. So, in today's tech world, what you think? What would you do differently, as per your so far experience?
What I would do differently. I think the only
Differently.
thing I would love to change is my behavior when I was young. I
Okay.
mean, when working with people. So I think otherwise, like I had fun. I mean, I have done so many different stuff. That's why I'm here right today.
Yes.
I've done whatever like I could do in technology, like different frameworks, different technologies. So I think the only thing I would love to do is probably I can go back and change my behavior at that certain period of time, and maybe that's all.
Okay. All right. So yeah, thank you so much, Santosh, for joining us in this episode and for sharing your journey with everyone. I'm sure like they will also resonate most of the things here, especially those who are also interested in open source contribution. So it was really very nice talking with you, and thank you once again for being a part of the show.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It was fun. It was fun talking to you, Amit. Thank you.